And on that note, item 4.1 today will be our focus on the students. Mrs. Andreessen.
Okay. All right, thank you for having us. We are very excited. We have some third graders from Mrs. Hagelin and Miss Rudloff's room, and they are here as well to talk about, what are we talking about, everybody? Flexible seating, smart seats. You have plenty of names. So we're going to first start with introductions. So say your first and your last name.
Ethan Nordby, Serena Carlson, Riley Bauer, Colton Roberts, Savannah Tillotson, Braden Engelbertson, Jordan Schnorr, Ty Pinkelman, Kendall Dennis, Paige Otten, Wyatt Master.
Very good. So first, thank you to parents to bringing them tonight. I really appreciate you guys supporting us so we can show off the wonderful things that are happening at Bel Air. So we're going to get you guys out of your seats and do the smart seats, all right? So first we're going to start, so you guys head to your spots. So what they're going to do is, as they head to their spots, I'm going to have Mrs. Hagelin and Miss Rudloff tell you a little bit about how they use their flexible seating. Come on up, guys. Tell how they got started. And then once they're done, then you guys get to go experience the seats. So they will then tell you why they like flexible seating. They will tell you a little bit about the rules that they have, the contracts that they have to sign. So I will hand it over to these lovely ladies.
Okay. I'm Mrs. Hageland, and this has always been my dream. And when we completed the perpetual survey, we noticed that the students wanted to have choices, more choices. So I did some research and came across flexible seating, talked to Mrs. Andreessen about it, sent her lots of information, and she gave me the go-ahead. So I sent out a request to parents saying this is something I'd like to do, and we started out with 2 beanbags. And then over the summer, through some shopping at different rummage sales and places like that, I just jumped in the fall and had just a wonderful response from the kiddos, and that's how it all got started.
Alrighty, I am Miss Rudloff, and I'm just gonna piggyback off of what Connie said. So I still have desks in my classroom, so they still sit at their desk, but for independent work time, that's when my students can use the flexible seating. We do have rules with our flexible seating in our contracts, like Connie said, so if they're not using flexible seating correctly, they head back to their desk, but it is a great option for our students to get to choose where they would like to sit and where they learn and work best. So with that being said, I think we're ready to get started.
All right, so Beth, whoever, you want to start that? So you can kind of see, as you head to your spots, you can take a look also. It's just kind of going to be an ongoing slideshow with the teachers and the kiddos in the classroom, what that looks like. So I'm going to have invite you guys to get up and head over, and they're going to let you try it out if you want and ask them questions, and they'll tell you all about it. Okay, guys, you're on the clock for 5 minutes. How long you got, Miss Savannah?
Okay, what do we got?
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay, I'll go about 30 more seconds and then we'll wrap it up. Good job, third graders. Okay, guys, make sure you watch your chairs. Make sure they don't steal one of them to sit for their meeting. They may want one of those. You may have sold it. All right, third graders, I'm going to have you come back over here again. All right. What were some fun things that they shared with you guys? I'm curious.
Well, the two students I talked to actually said that by using them helped them to study better. So that's always a good thing, as long as the end product. So it's nice that they feel comfortable in them, obviously, and we talked about having to share. If someone else has already grabbed the seat they like the best, then you pick a different one, and so there's all other kinds of learnings other than just the topics being taught.
I heard the word concentration. Big word.
That's a big word. Very important word, especially for third graders, right, guys? Uh-huh. All right. Right. Yep. Yep. Very good. Well, thank you for letting us come and share with you. Nice job, third graders. You did a great job. Thank you. That's it.
You guys did awesome.
We're working on technology. We will have our success pins here in just a second. I believe we have a video tonight.
We forgot to put the list into the agenda, so we tried showing the video, but it may not have worked quite correctly. This is available on our website every month for people to see, and it will be playing in the background at our staff appreciation when people walk in. Each month, we just do 1 month's worth on the website, but at staff appreciation, the whole year's worth will be up for people to see.
Excuse me. All right, we're on to item 5, public comments and communication. This is the time during the meeting where the public may request to address the board. If you wish to comment, we ask that you identify yourself and the topic you wish to address. Each individual's comments will be limited to 5 minutes. Please note the board cannot discuss or act upon matters that are not listed on the agenda. Therefore, board members will not respond to your comments or questions. If you wish to request an item be placed on a future board agenda, you may contact the superintendent or her assistant during normal business hours. Also note that concerns related to school personnel need to be addressed to the superintendent using the approved district protocol. Do we have any public comment tonight? Any public comment? With that, we'll move to item 6.1, Finance and Facilities Report. Mr. Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Total amount of claims to be approved in the consent agenda for the month of February by fund are as follows. The general fund is $495,395.73. Nutrition service fund of $208,116.41. Cooperative fund of $10,145.62. Depreciation fund $35,809.17. Special building fund of $1,507.01. QC Puff of $4,280. Our student fee fund of $549.79. In the month of January, we had $118,732.67 out of the activity fund. Earlier today, the Finance Facility Committee did review all these claims and balances. The business office, we've gotten all the W-2s and 1095Cs out to all of our district employees, and the payroll on Friday will be reflective of all the tax code changes, withholding changes, and so forth. So a lot of our employees will have more dollars in their paycheck, it looks like, at some levels. More depends on what you had for deductions and so forth. One thing we're emphasizing to all of our employees, it's still up to them to determine what they want for deductions and withholdings. Everybody's taxes are unique. I've got that a lot. I cannot tell them how to do their taxes and set that up, but I think that's just nationally people are looking at that stuff right now. That's all I have, unless there's any other questions.
Thank you, Bill. Next, we'll go teaching and learning report. Beth Nelson.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. In the area of curriculum instruction and assessment, all grade levels and content areas had been working diligently on the 13-step process for target-based grading. A small group of junior high and senior high health and wellness teachers worked on curriculum. We discovered some updating that needs to take place. Continued work is needed. The curriculum committee can anticipate a review of the updated curriculum this year. In February, I have scheduled dates to work with senior high business, junior and senior high family and consumer science, and an additional day with senior high science. Progression in other content levels continue through PLC time. February begins state testing training. Every teacher or para that administers the statewide test is required to have been trained. This will look different, but it won't actually be a big change. The testing engine is the same as the one that supports our NWEA MAP testing. Our students are used to that platform, so I do not expect any big problems with that. And an administrator and teacher leader went with me to Grand Island to observe their implementation of a science program. It is one of several we are investigating for implementation. I was pleasantly encouraged with what I saw. In fact, it revealed how new science standards can be infused in classroom learning activities. More information will come to you folks as we investigate more of these programs.
And in addition to researching program research, we have teachers at differing levels attending science workshops that are being offered by ESU 8 during this month as well. And the senior high Spanish department has also spent some time investigating and researching instructional programs. Their current edition is very dated. We've had 2 companies present their products, and I'm pretty confident that we can move forward in making some decisions there. Are there any questions that I can answer? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Student Services, Mary.
Thank you, Mr. President. Parent-teacher conferences were held last week, and I'll share attendance summary of conferences at all Norfolk Public Schools attendance centers at next month's board meeting. They're still rolling in. ELPA 21 started for our district ELL students on Monday, February 5th, and will continue through March 16th. Kindergarten enrollment has started for the 2018-19 school term. Registration is being held at neighborhood schools. Parents must have birth certificate and a copy of immunizations to begin the enrollment process. Kindergarten roundup will be held Wednesday, April 18th at your neighborhood elementary school. Any questions?
Mary, I had somebody ask me, they had gone to a preschool meeting this morning at I don't even know where it was at, I should know. What's today? Today's Monday, yes, it was this morning.
Okay.
And we have a waiting list, correct? Does every child get in that signs up for preschool?
Oh, our preschool does have a waiting list.
Okay. And is it first come, first serve after we meet some criteria?
Well, you have your 3-year-olds that roll up first that are currently in our program, and then it's first come, first serve.
It's actually a 3-year-old.
Yeah, and that would it depends. Could be a peer mentor, could be, what that looks like. I don't know. I'd have to have more details. That we
Okay,
can talk about
I
later.
just wondered, but I know that they've done all the steps because they registered, they went to the meeting today. So that's what you do. Then we figure it out from there.
Yeah. And if you have questions, Melissa Jantz is the preschool coordinator that can definitely help you.
And we're not at the church until, or at the, excuse me,
25th Street
25th
until
property until 19 or 20?
1920.
19, okay.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Human Resources and Accreditation, Mike Hart.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the 5:30 study session, we did give some additional information about the instructional model, and more details will be coming out to certified staff in April and May. For those that were not at the study session, that model will effectively train our new teachers and reinforce essential instructional elements with our staff. And again, I just want to say special thanks to all the folks that were involved in that task force. Their work, their input, and their commitment to that project was admirable. So kudos again to them. Safety. Student safety remains a top priority, and we hope to release an informational video about our district standard response protocols sometime later this week. That video is intended to inform parents and community members about the actions our staff and students should take in the case of an emergency or crisis situation. Tomorrow and Wednesday, our district safety and security team will be attending threat assessment training out at Northeast Community College. That's also crisis management. And that 2-day training will help our team continue to further enhance our district safety procedures. The staff development day, unfortunately, was canceled. We were all disappointed about that, but the good news is it's rescheduled for next year for that same day, and Dr. Adolph Brown has agreed to come back and be the speaker again. Special thanks to all the NPS staff members who were scheduled to appear. They worked very hard to get presentations ready, and we, again, appreciate their hard work, and we hope that they will present again next year. Hiring season, with the approval of the staffing plan last board meeting, we are in full swing. That's a great thing. And so we're busy carefully reviewing applications and selecting the highest quality candidates to fill our most recent and anticipated openings. I am pleased to report we are getting very skilled, very good quality applicants who are excited about joining our team. So we're going to continue to advertise and recruit as needed until all of our spots are filled. Last couple things, career fairs. Over the next 2 months, we'll continue to visit area career fairs. The purpose in attending these events is to promote our district and recruit the very best candidates to teach and serve in our schools. We are committed to providing our students the highest quality teachers and support staff possible, and we will do what we can to make sure we get excellent staff. Down below is the personnel update. As you can see, a lengthy list of openings right now, but we will get that filled. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. 6.5, Superintendent's Report, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 2 items tonight. The first is strategic planning. Norfolk Public Schools will hold our second round of strategic planning on February 25th, 26th, and 27th. We have created a diverse of students, teachers, parents, community members, board members, and administration to examine our strengths and weaknesses and set new goals for our district to be completed over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. So I'm very excited to start that process again and see what we can accomplish in the next 3 to 5 years. And the second item is that this is Career and Technical Education Organization Month. Earlier this month, Governor Ricketts signed a proclamation that made February Career and Technical Student Organizations Month in Nebraska. STSOs are a critical component to career education and economic development in our state. They help develop soft skills, which are things like leadership, communication, collaboration, and problem-solving skills. Those skills are critical to students' success in the real world, but can't really be taught via textbooks and worksheets. They must be taught in real-life situations or simulations, which is exactly what the CTSOs offer our students. Norfolk Public Schools has recently expanded our CTSO offerings based on the advice of our advisory boards for our career academies. We've had traditional CTSOs like FFA, Future Farmers of America, and FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America, but have recently added Skills USA, which is a partnership of students, teachers, and industry working together to ensure America has a skilled workforce. Skills USA helps each student excel by providing educational programs, events, and competitions that support career and technical education. We also added HOSA, a student organization with a mission to promote career opportunities in the healthcare industry. And we have added Educators Rising to our Early Childhood Education Career Academy as well. So very excited that the governor has designated this as Career and Technical Education Organization Month.
Next up will be our committee reports, starting with board building visits.
Well, after we had that delicious lunch for our School Board Appreciation Week, I took my husband Jay to the Career Academies because he had not been in that part of the school since he graduated in '76. So he was so impressed. He just could not believe it. And even tonight, before I was getting ready to leave, I said, so what's the takeaway? What one thing can you say was most impressive? He goes, I can't choose one. He goes, I was just blown away with what has happened. And every time Mr. Lohr took us into one of the career academies, the instructor, if he had a chance, he or she would stop and, welcome us, tell us a little bit of detail. Maybe we'd talk to some students. It was just a really, great time there. The woodworking was probably really impressive because when Jay was in school, like their big thing was they made a duck that hung on the wall, and it's still on our wall in the basement. And there was an entire entertainment center with a Lazy Susan. And he's just like, what? He goes, think what we could have. We have a duck. It was amazing. And we went into the Ag Academy. I went in to show them the lettuce, and there was fish, and there was livestock, and the kids were learning how to give them shots. And it just went on and on and on and on. It was absolutely amazing. It's so impressive, and I'm so proud of everybody working together to get those career academies and everybody's hard work. And then to see how excited the students wanted to come and talk to us. And the instructors wanted to come and show us things. And I hope our whole community can really come and see how far we've gone, because those were skilled kids, students, like in the health careers that were ready to go. It's amazing. So cool.
I had a chance to go to Jefferson this month to help with Blessings in a Backpack. So our office, DACO's, does that for Jefferson as part of our partnership, meaning that they go in and label all of the bags and then put them in the teacher bags and then in the wagon. And so it was interesting to see the process, and it just reminded me how many kids we have that have food to take home over the weekend. I knew that, but when you actually have to touch each of those food packets and put them in, it reminded me that there's a lot of needs still out there. So I'm grateful for Blessings in a Backpack, and I think it's something wonderful in our community. They also have books that usually go in with the kids' food for the weekend. Charlie Schlomer, who's a Norfolk Catholic student, did that as a 4-H project to distribute books to kids, so I thought that was pretty cool as well. So anyway, if you have a chance to be involved in that at all, I highly recommend it.
Anyone else quick? Otherwise, we will move on to 7.2, Facilities and Finance Committee report. Bob.
Thank you, Mr. President. We met at noon today and did the usual review of the bills and the district's financial reports for the past month. We also reviewed and heard a presentation from Beth relative to the new Envisions math curriculum update that we're going to bid on later in the day. And she did discuss a little bit about the current state of our Spanish textbooks. They're not quite up to date as they should be, and they talk about floppy disks and things like that. So we may need to bring them into the 21st century, those books. So
There's a lot of Spanish Spanish kids.
Yes, so yeah, they're in the process of selecting a book, and I'm sure that in the next month or two we may see a proposal from her and the curriculum group about which textbook they would like to have. Bill also reviewed with us the 25th Street facility and its current state. We are in the design phase, and there's discussion about the size of the little toilets. They don't make the little ones anymore, or they do, but they're very difficult to find and repair because they're just not needed a lot. So we're going to have bigger ones than what we thought. There's some discussion about the difference in classroom sizes from 950 square feet to 1,000 square feet and what that potentially could mean for some of the classrooms. There was some discussion relative to the roof design, the removal of the cross, and the potential of possibly moving some HVAC up into the roofing area, thereby freeing up more classroom space. Meeting again in a little bit, and next month we should begin to see some working drawings that'll come to the board for approval. We did discuss two salaries for all of the classified groups except for the people who work year-round. There is no proposal for those folks yet. They're in need of some minor revisions relative to the salary schedules, and so Bill is working on that at this point in time, and we'll bring you a report next month, I believe. Did I miss anything, Mr. President or Dr. Goebbels? Okay, thank you.
The Policy Committee met on January 25th at 1 p.m. There were a number of policies that we reviewed. The first one was Policy 1320, related to memorials. And the particular part of that policy that we focused on was the part related to the foundation's ability to accept both memorials and monetary donations. And in looking at that policy, it was clear that it's too restrictive. So we are recommending the policy change that will allow the foundation to accept both memorials and monetary gifts from a wider array of constituents. The way the policy read, it said current students and staff, and now we're recommending not only current students and staff, but also former student, staff, and community members, because it's clear we have some people in the community who maybe never attended Norfolk Public, but really love our school and want to be able to provide us with a monetary donation. So that's the recommendation on 1320. We looked again at policy 5205, which was up as part of a group of policies last month for first reading. 5205 is the policy that looks at graduation requirements. And as you recall, at our last board meeting, there was some discussion about the PE and computer technology language still not being really clear. So we did pull that back out again, took a look at it, and are recommending some wording changes just to clarify PE, physical education, and computer technology requirements. We're not changing any requirements, we're changing wording to clarify the requirements, just so that's clear. And finally then, as part of our ongoing policy revision cycle, we did take a look at policies 5401 through 5412. There are no substantive changes that we're recommending to those policies. If you looked through the attachments on those policies, you saw a couple of just changes that were edits, like changing a word to make it be a more appropriate word, or adding an S to make something plural when it needed to be plural. So nothing at all in terms of a policy change, but just cleaning up a few of those policies. And we commented during the meeting that isn't it nice to be at the point with our policies that we can spend time making them sound even better. So those policies will be up for first reading this evening. And our policy committee will meet, of course, again this next month to go with the next round of policies that we're reviewing.
Any questions? Thank you. Activities Committee, I think I can handle this one. We have not met since the last board meeting. Next Activities Committee meeting is next Monday. And Government Relations Committee, Tammy.
Yep, the Government Relations Committee says on here we only met twice, but I think we email each other once or twice a day some days, and at least several times a week. In addition, the members of the committee have attended various association meetings, lunches, workshops regarding legislative issues. It is a very busy time. There are many things to monitor in the legislature related to school funding, property tax, administrator pay. You just saw the Norfolk Daily News did a nice piece on that, which I thought told the story well. Early childhood education, school choice, local control, curriculum and instruction, on and on we go. We've been writing letters and sending those in, emailing legislators. Thanks to any of you who have also done that. I think it helps to have many voices, because eventually Senator Groney won't read my email anymore. And so I think it's nice when one of you also says something, or if we have staff or teachers or community members who respond. So thanks to everyone for participating in that way. And I think this is a good statement at the end of this little report that says, in general, we oppose school funding cuts and property tax relief measures that do not include replacement revenue for schools. We also oppose bills that reduce local control of schools, and we support bills that would increase funding for special education and early childhood education. There are times we support things that are happening, but as you know, if you follow this at all, there's a budget shortfall. So the funding for new or additional items is really probably not there this year. So we go. We're meeting on the 14th, and we have a whole list of things already for this week. So yeah, any questions? Okay. Oh, you have a question?
On some of those bills that are of dubious quality, are there any chances that they are going to get out of committee or onto the full floor for debate and then passed?
My crystal
You know,
ball
Or is it too
says-
early in the session?
I think, Bob, the problem is if you don't speak up, even though some of those bills seem like they should never advance out of committee, past experience tells us that some of them are advancing out of committee, one way or the other. And so I think it means we have to really continue monitoring, and we have to voice opposition or support. Clearly, some of the bills, even those that we support, because they have funding attached to them, they may make it out of committee, but they're not going any further than that. But I think if we really want to start the narrative and continue the narrative that education is important, then we have to show support for those bills.
Even if we know it's an exercise in futility, probably. But the same on the other side, because you will hear people say, well, it didn't seem like anyone was opposed. Well, even though there are times you think, we have one more letter, but you do, because that's our job, to be an advocate and a voice for students and for public education. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hearing none. Item 7.5 is the minutes of committee meetings. Included in this are the minutes of the January 9th Student Health Fund meeting, February 6th Nurses meeting. With that, we're to the consent agenda, which includes approving the minutes of our previous board meetings, personnel. Dr. Thompson with the resignations.
Yes, we have 3 resignations for your consideration this evening. TJ Shires, Junior High Assistant Principal and Activities Director, Stephanie Shires, ELL Teacher, and Deb Homan, Special Education Teacher. Deb is retiring after 35 years in education, 18 of those with Norfolk Public. And interestingly enough, TJ and Stephanie are going to have similar positions in Casablanca, Morocco next year. They're going to do some international teaching as a lifelong dream.
And Bill, any other comment on the claims? With that, I would accept a motion on item 8 to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All right, out of an abundance of caution, I hereby declare a potential conflict of interest and am abstaining from voting on claim number 217 and number 367 for the month of February in the consent agenda for this meeting. I have signed and will file very shortly this written disclosure with the Secretary of the Board. It is my intent to vote on all of the remaining items listed in the consent agenda. My vote on the remainder of the consent items should not be taken as a vote one way or the other on claim numbers 217 and 367, which I've identified, or any other matters set forth therein or related thereto.
Out of an abundance of caution, I hereby declare a potential conflict of interest in abstaining from voting on claim 1298 for the month of February in the consent agenda for this meeting. I've signed and will file this written disclosure with the Secretary of the Board. It is my intent to vote on all other remaining items listed on the consent agenda. My vote on the remainder of the consent items should not be taken as a vote one way or the other on item 1298, which I've identified, or any of the matters set forth therein or related thereto.
Do we have any other disclosures? Do we have any other conversation? Hearing none of either, voting is open. Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Item 9.1 is to discuss, consider, and take action to approve the 2018-2019 compensation package for hourly classified staff. Bill?
Thank you. We are recommending to provide the district hourly classified staff a 3.25% increase to their hourly rate for 18-19. This is the same percentage that was agreed upon for the certified staff that was approved in January. It is also recommended the base hiring rates for the district positions for 18-19, which are posted, be increased as well. For somebody who has been hired this year, what we do is we give them that base increase, so then somebody hired in 18-19 isn't making the same amount. They are still get that 1 year longevity, so they're still ahead of those people. So that's a question that comes out sometime when we do a base increase. Are there any questions?
No questions. Would accept a motion on item 9.1.
I make a motion to approve the 2018-19 compensation package for hourly classified staff.
I'll second.
A motion from Patty, a second from Sandy. Do we have any other discussion? With no other discussion, voting is open. Please vote.
Patty and Bruce, have you voted? I'm not showing it. Motion carried 6-0.
Item 9.2 is to discuss, consider, and take action to approve the 2018-2019 compensation package for the Executive Director of the NPS Foundation / NPS Communications Director. Bill?
Thank you. It is recommended that the Executive Director of NPS receive a 3.25% package increase for 18-19. This package increase would be the same increase being used with all other employee groups for 18-19 in our district.
I'd accept a motion on 9.2.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2018-2019 compensation package for the Executive Director of the NPS Foundation and Communications Director.
I'll second the motion.
Motion from Sandy, second from Patty. Do we have any other discussion on this?
Bill, would you just quickly review how that person is compensated?
Yes, the person is our employee, and the foundation then contracts for the hours for the work that they do and pay 75% of the person's total package. The reason we do that is this allows this employee then to take advantage of our health plans and benefit package and retirement system. As a singular employee, just with the foundation, it would become very costly and cumbersome and almost impossible for them to do those types of things that we can offer. That's why we have done it this way. This is actually common practice in a lot of districts that are moving to doing this with a full-time foundation person.
And sitting on the foundation, I think it's such a great person to be doing both, because they're the ones that are out there in the community and have a lot of the information that's available. So it's just a natural fit, and our person does a great job.
With no further discussion, voting is open. Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
9.3, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the 2018-2019 compensation package for nurses.
Thank you. It is recommended that the nurses receive a 3.25% package increase for 2018-2019. Once again, this percent is the same used with all of our other employee groups. I have attached the nurses' employment agreement. The terms of that agreement are the same as they were the previous year, outside of the increase to the base on the salary schedule, and then also the increase to the benefit package for each full-time nurse.
Would accept a motion on the 2018-2019 compensation package for nurses.
I would make a motion to approve the 2018-2019 compensation package for school nurses.
I'll second.
Motion from Bob, a second from Tammy. Do we have any other discussion on this? Hearing none, voting is open. Please vote.
Motion carried, 6-0.
9.4, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the 2018-2019 calendar for Little Panthers Preschool. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. This calendar has been created based upon the K-12 calendar that was approved by the board last month. Changes were made to that calendar where necessary to meet early childhood requirements for home visits and trainings. We will continue to hold classes on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, with Wednesdays being reserved for teacher plan time, training, and collaboration.
Would accept a motion to approve the 18-19 calendar for Little Panthers Preschool.
Make a motion to approve the 2018-2019 calendar for the Little Panthers Preschool.
I'll second.
A motion from Tammy, a second from Sandy. Do we have any other discussion on this?
I had a question as I looked at that calendar. So do they go to every kiddo's home?
Yes, at least twice a year, plus they have 2 parent-teacher conferences.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, the voting is open. Please vote.
Motion carried, 6-0.
9.5 is discuss, consider, and take action to approve the annual resolution regarding board policy 5006, option enrollment. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Based on the enrollment projections that I shared with you during a previous study session, it is anticipated that all grade levels, programs, and buildings will be at capacity for the 2018-19 school year, except for grades 1 and 3. First grade will be able to accept 14 option enrollment students for the 18-19 school year, and the third grade will be able to accept 9 students. Those were the 2 grades that had small kindergarten when they came in. I am recommending that all other grade levels, programs, and buildings be closed to option enrollment students for the 18-19 school year.
Would accept a motion to approve the annual resolution regarding board policy 5006, option enrollment as presented.
I would make a motion to approve the annual resolution regarding board policy 5006, option enrollment.
I'll second the motion.
Motion from Bruce, a second from Patty. Do we have any other discussion or questions on this?
I don't know if the thing attached is official, but their dates are wrong. So you just might want to look at that before.
I evidently had a lot of problems with my years when I was doing this agenda. I am so sorry.
Title's right. It's just in the first paragraph.
I will fix that.
Motion carried, 6-0.
9.6 will be to discuss, consider, and take action to approve the first reading of board policy 1320 regarding memorials. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Dr. Goebbels did a nice job of talking about this earlier this evening. The policy committee is recommending changes to the memorial policy because it was too restrictive in terms of who could make donations to the Norfolk Public Schools via the Norfolk Public Schools Foundation. It is our intention that donations will be accepted from current and past students, staff, and community members.
Would accept a motion on 9.6 to approve the first reading of board policy 1320 regarding memorials.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of Board Policy 1320 regarding memorials.
second.
Motion from Patty, a second from Sandy. Do we have any other discussion or questions?
I just wanted to mention that it was actually our executive director who just got a little raise, that she was the one that brought this to our attention, that it was too restrictive. And a good example is our largest donation right now is from the Lookers, who did not even attend Norfolk Public Schools. So it's just, you know, when your community becomes engaged and they want to give, we want to be able to receive.
If we have no further discussion, the voting is open. If you have not voted, please vote.
Motion carried, 6-0.
9.7, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the first reading of board policies 5401, anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, and anti-retaliation, 5402, child abuse and neglect, 5403, married/pregnant students, 5405, corporal punishment, 5406, search and seizures, 5407, vandalism, 5408, health inspections, 5409, communicable disease control, 5411, law violations, and 5412, missing persons. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Only minor, non-substantive changes were recommended to these policies by the policy committee.
I would make a motion to approve the first readings of the policies as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Motion from Bruce, a second from Bob. Do we have any other discussion on this? Questions? Hearing none, the voting is open. Please vote.
Motion carried, 6-0.
9.8, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the second and final reading of board policies 5201, promotion and retention, 5202, student records, 5203, academic progress, 5205, graduation, 5206, early completion plan, 5208, high school credit for middle school courses, 5301, association activities, 5302, student organizations, 5303, student activities, hazing, fundraising, and supervision, 5304, cooperative activities, 5305, school dances. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. As Dr. Goebbels mentioned earlier, we did make a formatting and wording change to Board Policy 5205, our graduation policy, in order to make it easier to understand. No other changes have been made to these policies since their first reading.
I would make a motion to approve the second and final reading of the board policies as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Motion from Bruce, a second from Sandy. Do we have any other discussion or questions?
Thank you for the changes. It was much more clear.
Hearing no other questions, the voting is open. Please vote.
Motion carried, 6-0.
9.9, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the bid for K through 2 Envisions math materials. Beth.
Thank you, Mr. President. During the school year of 2016-17, teachers and administrators went through an extensive process to evaluate, review, research, and pilot math programs for kindergarten through 8th grade. We purchased grades 3 through 8 Envisions last year. We consciously decided to wait 1 year for the K2 purchase because of their new implementation of Wonders at that time. One qualifying bid was submitted to me on Monday, February 5th. I recommend the purchase of the K2 Envisions math program at the cost of $153,003.34 plus 3% shipping costs.
I would make a motion to approve the purchase of K2 Envisions math program materials at a cost of $153,003.34 plus 3% shipping.
Second.
A motion, a second. Do we have any other discussion or questions related to this purchase? I would just add and thank Beth. I think it got mentioned earlier related to finance, but that was a good quick briefing on how it affected us financially and what the costs were in the finance meeting today. And I like that on a big spend like this, so. And it's also good to hear we got an update that this curriculum is being adopted well at the upper levels that we have it and should be continually going well through K2. No one else wants to speak up since I took all the time. The voting is open. Go ahead, please vote.
Motion carried, 6-0.
Thank you.
And our final item tonight will be to discuss, consider, and take action to approve the letting of bids for a senior high Spanish instructional program.
Let us meet again. The senior high Spanish courses have grown significantly in the past 4 years. Some of that is due to the 2 years of foreign language requirement for a 4-year college. The current instructional materials that teachers are using are extremely dated. Updated Spanish instructional materials will assist teachers to better address academic rigor, have access to updated vocabulary and technology for student learning. The technology pieces made available to students with updated materials will allow them to have access to learning outside of the classroom. We currently serve 467 students in senior high Spanish 1 through 4.
I'll make a motion to approve the letting of bids for a senior high Spanish instructional program.
I'll second that.
A motion from Sandy, a second from Bruce. Do we have any further discussion related to senior high Spanish?
Just a question, Beth, because I'm envisioning lots of really exciting technology pieces with the 2 that you've looked at. Can you just explain how some of that technology will help students learn Spanish?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. Actually, in both situations, they allow for where a teacher has to individually go around and listen to individual, do a repeat. Okay, students can put in their own earphones and work through lessons and do repetitive lessons. I don't want to say lessons, but repetitive activities as they learn to pronounce words. And then there is a component too where they can record and as they do their practicing, and then they could turn in one as their assessment or their proof of evidence that they can do that particular skill. The other thing too is one of the pieces that we noticed, because the entire piece of the program is online, they update it constantly and continually. So, if new vocabulary were to come about, it refreshes, it gets updated automatically. That's not any additional cost to the user. And then there are interactive pieces where they can watch videos. I mean, learning a language is really hard. And so to be able to give them as much experience with the language in the classroom and having those big classes, we've got to have an opportunity where students can use it, practice it, listen to it, and then access it when they're not in the classroom all of the time as well. So I hope that helps to answer that a little bit.
If we have no further questions or comments, the voting is open. Please vote.
Motion carried, 6-0.
Thank you.
All right. Second meeting of the Board of Education is tentatively scheduled for noon on Thursday, February 22nd, 2018. Next regular meeting will be held on Monday, March 12th, 2018. Study session 5:30, business meeting 6:30. All components of these meetings will be held here at Central Office. And of course, will be open to the public unless an executive session is needed in order to protect the interests of the district or reputation of an individual. With that, an executive session is needed tonight in order to protect the district and the interest of an individual. With that, I would ask for a motion on 11.1 to convene the executive session.
I'll make a motion to convene executive session. Say more?
We have a motion from Sandy, a second from Tammy. Do we have, I guess, any other questions or comment related to that before we go into executive session? If not, we'll let Bruce log back in and voting will be open, and please vote.
While Mr. Mitchell is logging back in, I would just say that I do not anticipate any action following the executive session this evening.
Motion carried 6-0.
All right, with that, we are in executive session. I would ask